Okay, everybody, I have been falling down on the job here. This is us February 4th, a Saturday, sitting in the hotel lobby getting ready to go out and have a big tourist kind of day. Give you an idea where we were, a little zoom in Cebu City. A little blue dot was taken in real time, and this is us traveling. I was in the front seat with our taxi cab Uber style driver, and sorry about the reflection. This is the route we took. This images coming up here will be us going around that little pregnant section of the road, big rotary. And sorry about the reflection. I wasn't able to lean forward. I would have blocked the driver's view in the mirror, side view mirror, and didn't want him to crash into a trike or a motorcycle or some such. Give you a little idea what Cebu City looks like and some of the nicer areas, more commercial areas. We are on our way to the Basilica del Santo Niño. It's a Roman Catholic minor basilica located in Cebu. Here you can see all the different artwork that they have on display there. It's one of the oldest churches in the country and is considered to be the cradle of Christianity in Asia. The basilica was built on the site where the image of the Santo Niño, Holy Child, was found by Spanish explorers and led by Miguel López de Legazpi in 1565. The image, which is made of dark wood and measures about 30 centimeters tall, is believed to be the oldest religious relic in the Philippines. And here we have a lovely image of Owie and Rika. And nearby there, I caught this image of the Patriot, which was about an American officer of the United States Army in the Far East, Colonel C.F. Sharp, who was surprised by a Cebuano volunteer that came to him at Fort San Pedro, described him as no more than a boy, and he was rejected, of course, on the volunteer, but the people in Cebu knew it was the Holy Child of Cebu. And this painting depicts the finding of the image of Saint Nino of Cebu and is a significant event in Philippine history that occurred in 1565. The image was discovered by Magellan, who arrived in the Philippines on an expedition on March 16, 1521. And this 360 pan is the courtyard inside the basilica, and on the other side of those walls is where all the artwork was hanging, so you could walk inside the hallways all the way around or hit the courtyard. And this historical marker was inside the courtyard. And this painting I thought was intrinsically interesting, depicts the Saint Nino pilgrimage, 4th centennial of the Christianization of the Philippines. And a little map action. The blue dot was taken in real time with the minor basilica of the Holy Child of Cebu. I kind of zoom in a little bit there, remind everybody where we are geographically speaking and its relation to the broad geography of Cebu City. And this is in and around the Pilgrim Center. This is, would they say call this actually the basilica itself? I'm not sure about the terminology. I would call it a church where I come from. Very lovely architecture, very grand, very dramatic and spacious. And then out in the open area, you can see those are like grandstands. Obviously, they can accept very large crowds. We're sitting under one of the other grandstands, actually hiding from the sun. Give you a little pan of the area and what it looks like. And people doing their thing, milling around. You can light a candle, of course. Give you an idea what it looks like. And then we've made our way over to Magellan's Cross, looking like a couple quintessential tourists that we were. Magellan's Cross is actually encased inside that cross right there. I understand it's literally the cross that he planted in the ground is inside this cross-shaped box, which is pretty fascinating. It's still there all this time. And this is us walking away from the Magellan's Cross back towards the Pilgrim Center. All of this area all is in walking distance. It's like a giant campus. Rika and Owie are about to take a knee, and I suddenly feeling awkward about the whole situation. We'll scurry off to the right here and try to capture some additional images for your viewing pleasure. And from here, this is all chronological, by the way, we went past the Cebu Metropolitan Cathedral, which was closed, as I recall, so we didn't get to go inside. Give you an idea of where we were exactly again, because it was a bit of a blur for me as well. And then we went over to the Archdiocese Museum of Cebu, which was loaded with artifacts of all kinds. Give you a little panoramic view of the interior. There's Haley and Owie milling around. A lot to take in. There's August. And I'll let some of the images roll. I don't have an explanation for each and every one, but we're talking Catholic Church, big time in the Philippines, going way, way back. And this thing it's a wooden clapper used to produce strepitus, Latin for great noise, to symbolize the earthquake that followed after Christ's death. And here we have the Chapel of Relics, houses the ensemble of 70 first-class relics of the saints, part of a vast collection of His Eminence Julio Cardinal Rosales, the first Filipino cardinal in Cebu. And during our journey in the museum, we were on the first floor. We spilled out into the back of the museum. There was an open sanctuary of a sort. The ladies were talking about how they remembered it looking different when they were children, having paid a visit here before. And passing through the gate, you can see the rather pleasant surroundings. This to the left is the Cebu Metropolitan Cathedral that was closed, so you have some idea of our orientation. And this looks like it would be a nice place to contemplate and think. And speaking of the building the museum is housed in, it is the first priest house, which itself is a museum piece. It goes back to the 19th century, and the building was one of the few extant structures in downtown Cebu City that was totally spared from the ravages of World War II, and it also survived uninformed renovators and the natural elements. Here you can see the view from the second floor. It was so much cooler up there. It was really quite extraordinary. And then they had a panorama. It was probably about 20 feet long. I tried to use that setting on my iPhone to capture it. I gave it a couple of tries. It didn't work that well, but you get the idea how the grounds looked quite a bit differently from that view out the window a moment ago. And again, I thought this was interesting. It's a seated joint where the second floor timber column is planted on the ground floor column, both etch marked with matching numbers. It was a practice to encase the undressed timber to hide imperfections, but I think it looks really cool. And then I looked up and saw an opportunity to grab a candid shot, me being in one window and the gals in the other window. And I was, however, spotted by Haley, as you can see. Don't know what they were getting into there, but they looked like it was something that was very interesting. And here we have some more shots from the interior of the second floor. These big wide planks, that's the overhang. You can actually see through to the ground through the planks. August was not happy with that and did not linger long up there. Outside the window, the surrounding area, there again we have the Cebu Metropolitan Cathedral. And here we have, I believe this was the bedroom furniture that belonged to Cebu Bishop Santos Gomez Marañon. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And here we have a artifact of battle, a small cannon, which was so small, I guess it's only good at close range. And then I found this first-person account of Magellan's death, which I knew nothing about until I came across this. And it says, when morning came, 49 of us leapt into the water up to our thighs and walked through the water for more than 2 crossbow flights before we could reach the shore. When we reached land, men had formed in 3 divisions to number more than 1,500 persons. When they saw us, they charged down upon us with exceedingly loud cries. The natives shot only at our legs, for the latter were bare, and so many were the spears and the stones that they hurled at us that we could offer no resistance. The mortars in the boats could not assist us, as they were too far away. Then, trying to lay hand on sword, he, Magellan, could draw it only halfway, as he had been wounded in the arm by a bamboo spear. When the natives saw that, they all hurled upon him. One of them wounded him in the right leg with a cutlass. That caused him to fall face downward. When immediately they rushed upon him with iron and bamboo spears and with all the cutlasses until they killed our mirror, our light, our comfort, and our true guide. And that account is from Antonio Pigafetta, 1525. All right, from there you can see where we've been traipsing around and ultimately ended up right here at the museum where that red dot is. And we subsequently worked our way across to Fort San Pedro, a military defense structure built during the Spanish colonial period. It's located in the city center of Cebu. It is one of the oldest and smallest fortresses in the country, with a total area of 2,025 square meters. The construction of the fort began in 1565 under the command of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, the first Governor General of the Philippines. The fort was initially built to protect the Spanish settlement and the port of Cebu from hostile forces, particularly the Dutch and the Moro raiders. Moro being a reference to Muslim. Moro, a term that is now synonymous with pirates from that being so often used from that period. Fort San Pedro's layout is triangular in shape with the walls made of coral stones and bricks. Here you can see a gallery room which has portraits of all the historical players from the early era when the fort was built, including Spanish and Filipinos. And the fort has 2 entrance gates, one facing the sea and the other facing the land. It has a lot of local plants and gardens that are native to the Philippines. And as you look out across some of that area, not to my left but to my right, I think you're going to see some images here in a minute of a gathering of people. There were some kids practicing some sort of a dance routine, and our tour guide explained that that used to be water at one time, so they did a lot of reclamation of land. Here's an interior shot. I stuck the camera in the window. This was used as a prison at one time in World War II. Looks like it was a pretty grim place to be stuck at. And here, this we were told by the tour guide, this landscape here used to be water, where those kids are doing some dance routine numbers. And the fort used to be equipped with, well, there's still some cannons there, but more cannons. And it had a moat, watchtowers, and sentry boxes at one time. Throughout the history of the fort, it did serve many different purposes. And I think I already mentioned it was a prison during World War II. And today it is managed by the National Museum of the Philippines. This I thought was a cool shot, a long shot down the one side of the triangular fort. And here you're looking down into the center of the fort, to kind of a courtyard area of the triangular fort. I can imagine that this would be a nice place to be for safety matters back in the day, being surrounded by the big walls and armaments and such. And again, more shots from up top. It was really hot up there, I gotta say, very hot. So we didn't linger up there too long. And there's a shot down the barrel of a cannon that still remains. That's down the outside wall of one of the triangular sides of the fort. And some of the plant life and whatnot. I think that was a banana tree, I think. And then some pretty Filipino gals taking the opportunity for a selfie out front before we departed. Departed where? Took a couple of shots over the guardrail on the highway. Little local Flavo Flav, how folks live around here. Thought it was interesting. So we went from the fort, we took a 7-minute drive, as it clearly indicates right there, 7 minutes. And worked our way over to the, what was it called again? SM Seaside City Mall, I think, where there was this lone high-rise and some window washing scaffolding hanging from it that I thought was interesting. And yes, people, this mall had an ice rink. Ice skating Filipinos. I never thought I would ever see that. And let me tell you something. The Filipinos do the mall like nobody else does the mall. Look at this place. Look at this spiral staircase. I think the thing was 4 or 5 stories of shopping pleasure, of shopping orgasm. And I had a couple hours in there. We were so hot, hungry, dehydrated, sweaty that we went in here for refuge. And I'm going to tell you something. Malls will never go out of style in the Philippines for that very reason. It's an oasis away from the heat. So they got this figured out for sure. Little see-through elevator action here. And then you're going to see people that are on scooters. There's just so much territory to cover. People actually rent scooters. They got a Ferris wheel in there. And there you go, riding the scooters. And then let's see, as you can see, I'm going to walk my way up to this rail here. Should you need any reminder that the Philippines is in fact an island nation, a nation of many islands. There you go. I don't know if that's the Philippine Sea or not, or they're calling that a bay or what, but there's plenty of water to drown in. I wouldn't want to be out there swimming, that's for sure. Another shot down below. Shot of the elevator bank from the other side. This place was huge. huge. It was also long. And then, from the other side of the shot I took on the way in of that lone skyscraper, I saw the real-life Filipino Spider-Man. Me safely ensconced inside the mall, taking this image through the glass inside one of the stores. I don't know what he was doing exactly, other than defying gravity, of course, risking his life and limb to do some sort of job, which I hope he was paid way above average to do. I don't know how you get a gig like this. I don't know if it's because you're smart or stupid. I wouldn't do it. I'm not particularly afraid of heights, but that looks pretty damn precarious, I gotta say. And there we were. Got a little candid shot of the kids. A little recap here. We came in from the hotel, went around the Rotary there, worked our way across town, a little 20-minute drive. And we got busy on foot down there where all the squiggly stuff is, a lot of religious and Catholic things. Then we worked our way over to the fort. Then we took a 7-minute ride along the waterway to the mall and worked our way back finally up to the hotel. And that was it. We left it in a state of a shopping stupor. See ya.